everyone. Just testing out the audio real quick before we get it going. Now we're going to see what it sounds like with the engine noises in the background. Talking, testing. Oh, these engine noises are pretty loud, but we will continue. Let's see how that sounds. All right, that sounds good to me. If it sounds good to you guys, I'm going to give it just a moment here, and then we will get started with your official proceedings here in just a moment. I'm going to let these guys get their qualifying sessions situated, and then we'll be good to go in just a minute. As the viewers are rolling in, I guess we are going to get started now. Is as good a time as any. The audio sounds good enough to me. So then, hello and welcome everybody to Dracon Racing League. We are back for immediately getting some action here, but we're back for, oh my goodness. All right. Anyways, we are now beginning of the Formula Super League. Yes, I will have all the information on screen for you. And as the viewers are rolling in now, definitely let us know who you guys are rooting for, any drivers or teams in particular that you guys want to see highlighted an extra amount for you today. Let me know in the chat. Of course, I already see May JP mentioned. He was definitely the fan favorite from last round, having the most support in the chat, as it looks like Illusion having crossed the line again, the pit lane exit line, and just going to restart. Everyone shuffling out of the pits right now on their outlap. The outlap, of course, is not timed. It is their second lap that begins their timed qualifying session here, as we got Whiteout, our race winner from last round, just warming up his tires on his outlap, although he is behind Whiplash, so there might be a little bit of traffic, dirty air that he'll have to contend with, but the gaps are opening up a little bit before these guys begin their hot laps. Today we are on a beautiful circuit here. It is a Gran Turismo original circuit called, yes, more May JP in the comments. Excellent. But we're here at Dragon Trail Seaside Layout. It is a fictional Croatian track that is very, very nice. Oh, a huge slide from Whiteout just as he goes to begin his hot lap attempt. And that will completely ruin his run up to the line. So I wouldn't be surprised if he abandons this lap. Instead of coming out of the pits, though, for a second outlap, he's going to stay on track for a second outlap, which is smart, because then when he does begin his actual hot lap, he will have that much less fuel on board. That much lighter of a car will mean that much quicker of a lap time. Even though it'll only make up a very, very small amount of time as a difference, those are the kinds of margins that these guys are chasing. The smallest of advantages can be the difference between winning and losing here. Yeah, we have a ton of support now in the chat for May JP once again, just like last round. It does look like some new people as well in the chat who are supporting our boy As we have the man himself here, though, Lewis Hamilton, on track, and I believe this is going to be his debut here in DRL. Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari. This is something that everyone should definitely be afraid of. Keep their eyes on this man, 7-time Formula One world champion. Of course, it is the real Lewis Hamilton, without a doubt, if anyone had a question in their mind. I mean, you could tell by the helmet, it's the same helmet, so 100% canonically Lewis Hamilton, setting a lap time, a very respectable lap time in the opening hot laps to put himself in the P5, just now demoted to P6 from Foxhound Kip. But if we look at the order so far, we got our provisional pole position so far after the first attempt to be Whiplash, although we have to keep in mind Whiteout has yet to set himself a lap on the board yet. Illusion putting himself right up into P2, less than a tenth off of the provisional pole position time. As we can see now, the Norwegian getting a little bit too much onto the curbs there. And these curbs are very rough. If we get onto these curbs, it has to be perfect. Usually these guys are going to want to get on the curbs to just maximize the amount of track used. Oh, more spinning. We're seeing a lot of spins today from these guys. Opening up the session, even in a little bit of practice, we've seen multiple spins already. Pan Am going slowly, letting other cars by. The car he is letting by is AJP. We will see if we can find him real quick and see what his progress is looking like, since there is a lot of interest on this driver here. It does look like he is yet to set a representative lap time yet, but we will see kind of what the pecking order looks like after just a few more laps of these guys going around. And he is on an out lap right now, so he is about to begin a full push lap. And let's just go on board and get the full experience from the eyes of AJP, the British racing driver. He is now on the overtake, as we can see on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Now that is essentially a boost being provided to the cars, giving it a bit of extra horsepower. It makes a huge difference, especially on the straight. So we're going to see him use as much of his overtake as he possibly can over the course of this one lap. And then by the end of this lap, we're going to see how much he has left over. If he has over half left, then he might even be able to do a consecutive push lap, which is very good for these guys to be able to do multiple push laps in a row, because it maximizes the total number of attempts that they have on track to put up a good lap time. As we can see, the order being shuffled up quite a bit now. Whiteout was in P2, but now takes P1, provisional pole position away from Alex in the Astra Lotus. Whiteout in the Exo Mitsubishi in provisional pole position. Not too shocking to see that, of course. As we also see a little bit of clouds coming in. AJP now rounding the final corner of the track, and we're going to see where this puts AJP. It did look like a pretty clean lap. I was looking at the timing charts over there on the left-hand side of the screen, but it is. He makes up 5 positions off rip, and he is continuing for a second consecutive push lap, and now he is in a good rhythm, having just pushed for an entire lap, so this lap may be even stronger. We will see if he can pull it off here. And Illusion with a 118, putting himself up into P3 as well, just pushing Whiplash just out of the top 3. Whiplash still having himself a second row position, though, which is very good. You can make something happen into turn 1 from the second row. Any farther back, though, then you might have to take it easy into turn 1 and accept kind of the general position that you have for at least a moment, because that turn 1, turn 2 is very, very tight. It's a very interesting, sort of awkward set of angles to go through. AJP being demoted 1 position further. We'll see if this lap, this looks like an even more confident lap from AJP. think he could have used a bit more overtake perhaps, so it's not looking like there's too much of it being used relative to... Okay, so it is not an improvement. It basically matched his time from before. Now taking a look around, we have drivers all over the place on various sorts of in-laps, out-laps, run plans here. Wait a minute. Is this the same team? Because last round, our boy Alex here was in a Lotus liveried machine, and is there another one? Yeah, here's a Lotus. I wonder if the Astra Lotus team is running a different livery today, or if he has switched teams, or what is going on with that in particular. It's a very interesting situation we got here in the Airbus-themed green racing car, driven by Alex, who is actually in an extremely competitive position, as he is only 0.013 away from that illustrious pole position. Okay, and now he is beginning his push lap, and this is going to be huge for Alex. We're going to see exactly where he can put himself. Let's go in this view. It's very similar to the cockpit view, but it's even faster looking, I think. Got a lot of green going on here, and it looks very tidy through those quick sector. All over the overtake, and you need to use all of it as much as you possibly can throughout this lap to even have a chance. I'm surprised he's as close as he is to whiteout as is. That's an extremely impressive lap time, we're gotta say. And this track really is excellent. I love the combination of high-speed corners that require so much downforce, like through those little S's just before where he was. Of course, this very Monaco-esque death chicane, followed by another Monaco-esque sort of tunnel. Just very, very nice looking track, very fun. And easy flat through the death chicane in these Super Formula cars with the extreme levels of downforce they have. But despite all those high-speed corners, there's even some medium-speed corners that rely almost entirely on mechanical grip, which is a very fun change of pace. I really like those corners. All right, so that was Alex's attempt done and dusted. He did not seem to improve, although it was an excellent time. And that must have been his final attempt, as it does show final lap on the screen here. So we're going to go on board with Illusion to see if he can improve from P3 on his final attempt. This is going to be a repeat if it stays like this for EXO of their qualifying positions from last round. A 1-3 qualifying in Suzuka, although the P2 that split the two EXO cars was Chiller in the disconnect car, now sitting in P5. The P2 that is splitting the EXO cars as of now is the German driver Alex, who has put up an excellent lap, it must be said. And now as we round out the final corner of this excellent track, we're going to see him cross the line and see if it's an improvement. And it is not an improvement. Interesting. We'll see if there are any other cars on a fast lap, but it does look like this is the session completed. You got May JP there holding a 3-second penalty there. Yeah, this does look like it is the session. All right, so we had Whiplash looking very strong early and then getting demoted a few places by extremely fast lap times ahead, but it is still going to be a second row start for Whiplash, and that is good news for him. Chiller, however, third row start, going to be slightly on the back foot right next to BP, the Frenchman, who did an excellent job with a unique strategy last round out at Suzuka. He was the only driver to run the hard tire for a 0 stop and made it work, and I believe he finished in P5 or 6 then as well. We have in the chat asking how the point system works for the league. It works very, very similarly to the Formula 1 point system. right, so just waiting for the additional runoff time to expire, and then we can show you the results for the qualifying session just ahead of the feature race. All right. Okay, our qualifying results are as follows. Your pole position sitter once again for the second race in a row and continuing the trend from the previous series in DRL with the F3500 cars. It is Whiteout on pole position, followed by P2, a front row start for Alex, and a P3 for Illusion, P4 for Whiplash, P5 Chiller, P6 is BP. We got King in P7 there, Santos in P8. Going to the next page, we got Julvo P9, Kip P10, Pan Am P11, May JP in P12, Nikki in P13, Lewis Hamilton of all people in P14, and Anti-Shift in P15 to round out our grid for today's race. Yeah, so big story of the day, Lewis Hamilton qualifying this low in the Ferrari. Must be scary for all the Tifosi in the chat, I'm sure. People are mentioning too in the chat and here in the driver's chat that we got a couple of times that are identical, so I was just gonna look at the times, but it is too late as it is gone forever, never to be seen again. King just restarting the lobby for us, making it in race mode. And as I realized last time, is a very clever thing that he does to cancel the race in between the quali and race sessions so that they actually have a chance to save the quali replay, which is quite nice. Yeah, so ticking in, everybody, is the message for the drivers today. It does seem everyone has done so, except for me, as I am not going to be on the grid. So it looks like everyone is ready to go. Good attendance today, as well as we have a full grid, 15 out of 15 drivers. It would be 16 maximum, but I have to take up a slot for commentary, and so worth it is. 10 people watching now, so let us know once again if you haven't already, or if you want to just tell us again, who are you guys rooting for, teams and drivers? I want to know, and we can make sure that we give them some screen time for you guys. Everybody, feel free to ignore Nikki over here. Yep, so just waiting for all of the drivers to be fully ready and prepared. No need to tinker with the setups or anything like that, as this is an all-spec, stock, BOP regulated league. All these cars are going to be the exact same with no changes allowed. The only changes you can make is to that of the brake balance on the car and the tires that you choose. These guys are going to have to be picking their tires right now that they want to start on, as the strategy is likely to be critical here. Last time I raced here was in the Grand Prestige League, and the tire strategy was completely up in the air, as there were about 3 viable strategies that were completely different from each other, not just different stint orders, but completely different strategies. And it does seem that these guys are being given the quick little rules briefing reminders here just before the race. If you have damage, write D for damage, and that is probably the only acceptable in-race chat that these guys can be partaking in. As well, of course, no overtake on the first lap. Very similar to how Formula One does DRS. No DRS on lap 1. No overtake on lap 1. Also, I am going to be in control of the red flag. So if we have carnage into turn 1, where we have 3 or more cars with damage or 3 or more cars going off the track, not on their own, then I will call a red flag, and that will force us to restart the race session from the beginning with the same grid that we now have from quali. And it does seem like these guys are just about ready. We have some banter going on amongst the drivers waiting on the start of this race here. We have a lot of MayJP fans in the chat. I am curious, is there anyone else, too, who is being rooted for here, even if you are a supporter of MayJP? Is there another driver that you guys would like to see do well, have a good performance, or just somebody that you have your eye on as a potential dark horse in this race today? Do let me know, as we are still just waiting around and twiddling our thumbs a bit. But basically, all right. There's no love for any other drivers in the chat today. It does seem that the entire audience is here in support of MayJP. So very good on MayJP indeed for that. I will say a couple of drivers here that we haven't seen yet. Santos, who does appear to be a strong driver. He's an A+ rating. That's strong no matter what. Kip we haven't seen yet as well, and Anti-Shifty, and Lewis Hamilton as well. So we have a handful of drivers here making their debuts. All right, now the race is beginning. As soon as those lights go off, we will be racing here in Dragon Trail Seaside. The lights are on, and they are back off, and DRL round 2 in Dragon Trail Seaside is underway. It's an excellent launch from Whiteout, and we got Illusion all over the back of Alex, getting a little bit too far to the inside, curbing there. We'll see if everyone can survive here. This is usually chaos. King going a bit wide to the inside. Kip lagging all over the place. Oh, we do have Crash. Multiple cars getting damaged, it looks like. My goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. So multiple cars going off. Those were 2 separate incidences, though. Okay, that's 3 cars with damage. I'm going to have to call it. Whoa, my goodness. I regret to call this because look at the action we have out here up front. King called it for me. Unexpected error has occurred. Come on, let me call the red flag. I have the authority. Okay, for some reason, I've never experienced that one. Gran Turismo not letting me make a chat there. Oh, that was actually quite an exciting set of crashes. It looked really cool. Unfortunate for for Alex especially, as he was all over the tail of the race lead right there. Yeah, Whiteout not too happy with Alex's antics. And now we can be further entertained by the banter that is ensuing currently here. Oh, we've got more crashes going on in the background of our scenic view. There was a big crash there, and it was Pan Am, of course, just getting a little bit of practice in just before we get going once again with the race restart. Okay, everybody being told to tick in once more, and it does appear that everyone has done so. We are ready now. If the grid is set in the proper order, which King may have to reset the server here just to make it so that you can manually set the order in the proper order set from our qualifying session a little earlier. Oh, never mind. It looks as though we are all good to go. Hopefully the starting grid is correct. We will see in just a moment once we get on the grid. All right, so let's try that again. We are here in the Dragon Trail for DRL round 2. And those lights are back on. Let's try again. See if we can get through even cleaner this time. These guys are probably going to be a little bit more cautious into turn 1. As usually, we don't want too many red flags. Whiteout immediately trying to break the toe now of Alex as he understands Alex. Oh, and it was an even better launch from Alex this time around as he goes... okay. So, Alex with a dirty move on the inside of Whiteout, pushing him off the track and down into P3, but we got some people going off the track. Oh my goodness, that was an amazing drift. Julvo doing the Tokyo drift all the way around, what is that, turn 5? That was an incredible drift. We had a driver in the back going off as well somewhere that I saw. Oh no, we got MayJP all over the runoff area. And when you get back onto the track from there, that's a terrible place. Oh, Alex must have made a mistake all on his own because now he got Illusion in front, Whiteout just behind him P2, and Chiller all over the back of Alex now too in that Castrol Honda. And going into this final corner of the track here, this is a big overtaking opportunity for Chiller, but he stays around the outside as Alex now catching the slipstream of Whiteout. They are 3 cars very close to each other. We got a huge group. Oh my, another huge crash. These guys are, and it's whiplash. MayJP making up moves as well. There's absolute chaos all over the track, front to back, but it is an XO1-2 through all of the clouds, all of the smoke happening everywhere. Once it settles, it is an XO1-2 once again, just like round 1. As we could see, Pan Am now making a move onto Nikki. What an excellent move that is. You got purple sectors being set all up and down the grid as it is lap 2. We're going to see that from basically everyone. MayJP looking like he's in a really good position to fight for more positions. If he can just keep it clean through here, he doesn't want to get too excited here to make up positions. He just wants to... Oh my goodness. I stand completely corrected as he is just absolutely capitalized on an amazing opportunity and did a double overtake just before the death chicane to make up 2 positions. Now P8 is MayJP as he leads a train of cars through the death chicane. What a move. once again, with the move of the race so far, I would say May JP having the race of the move of the race last round out at Suzuka as well into the S's with an ambitious move. He may have a slight pace deficit to a lot of the guys on this grid, but he is an ambitious overtaker. Very good in the racecraft department for sure. And of course, he's got the crowd lit up here with an amazing move. Whiteout seeming to close the gap a bit onto the race leader and his teammate in Illusion there. Alex also starting to gap Chiller a bit, so breaking away from the pressure from Chiller, but Alex showing a ton of pace right now as he's actually closing in on this leading group. Now this is Lunge City. This corner is where a big lunge can be made, and he holds on to that lunge to make up even more ground. Alex in a great position on the soft tire. All of our top three on the soft tire. This is a good chance to start looking up and down the grid as well to see what tires everyone's on. So far, everyone except for Pan Am is on the soft tire. That definitely, except now that we're in the back of the grid, a couple more drivers here, Santos and Whiplash, also on the medium tire, Julvo, anti-shifty. So basically, the four cars in the very back of the grid and Pan Am are all on the medium tire. Everyone else on the grid, including our race leaders. Alex getting past a whiteout there. I would not have expected that at this stage. My apologies for missing that. I was checking on tire compounds and didn't think we'd see a move such as this. Alex must be absolutely on top of the world right now. I can already sense the level of excitement that he has right now for having gotten past whiteout clean on track. And he's done so twice now this race, only one of which he can really be proud of is that turn one moment, I could call it, was not necessarily a very clean overtake onto whiteout, who has definitely put him on the back foot this race so far. As whiteout, we could surely expect to probably be in the lead of this race right now had it not been for the over-ambitious overtaking move of Alex into turn one on lap one. But whiteout in a good position nonetheless as he is getting on the overtake just a little bit to ensure that he stays within the slipstream of Alex. Just checking back real quick to see if there's any super close cars there. Whoa, we got battles going on here. Very pushy battle between Whiplash and Santos here. And yeah, once again, just making way too much contact before and after that corner began. So unfortunate stuff for whiteout or for Whiplash back there, but it's sort of to be expected when there's that much contact being made before the corner even begins. And looks like the cars were just unsettled into the exit of the corner. And as they got on the acceleration, could not hold on to the car being span around. Gap between those two. We'll check here in just a moment for you. Chat wanting to know what the gaps are here for their favorite driver, May JP, and the German Pan Am. It is under a second, and we know Pan Am has good pace too, so May JP turning it on right now, and Pan Am looking like he got a little bit... Wait, what the... Hold on, sorry, what am I looking at? Okay, I have no idea what just happened, but I literally went to check the P8 gap, and now he's in P11. So unfortunate stuff for May JP, getting behind all of the cars that he had made progress on. And the story of this race for May JP, once again, hopefully he can change the narrative before the end of this race, because very similar to last round out in Suzuka, he was showing very, very promising moments and flashes of really solid racing, and then it all just being undone by very small mistakes. But very small mistakes have very large consequences, especially when you're on a grid as competitive as this one is. Now we are back with Alex. Is it just me, or is Alex actually making up ground on Illusion right now? Incredible stuff that we are seeing right now. Alex showing an incredible amount of pace. One must be impressed with what we're seeing here by Alex, as he is also a very young driver too, so he is not quite got the experience of Illusion or Whiteout, and he is actually showing a lot of his talent right now. I would always say that Alex is one of these drivers who just has raw talent that has yet to be fully refined, and I believe this last season of GPL and beginning here this season now in DRL, Alex is starting to refine his skills, refine his mentality on track as well, and we are seeing massive improvements in all of the little details that go from you being a fast, talented driver to an all-around great driver worthy of winning championships. And I do believe that we are seeing that path of development here for Alex. I don't think he's quite champion level quite yet, but he is on the road to becoming a championship level driver, even amongst the very, very best, such as Illusion and Whiteout. Oh my God. It is not a hoax. It is not a fluke, ladies and gentlemen. Alex is indeed making up ground on Illusion. We are seeing a 3-car fight for the race lead as Alex is making up pace on Illusion. Whiteout is not losing pace to Alex either. And so, okay, actually he's starting to lose a little bit now. Alex alongside Illusion into the final corner of this track, going around the outside to make a move, but the inside is a much better line there. So Illusion showing him the long way around the final corner, but that is advantage Alex now for the long run all the way up to turn 1 as he has the slipstream. Illusion get to choose the line though, and he does pick, oh, he wanted the inside, but it does look like, oh wow, and a huge switchback, and that put him on the back foot. Now Whiteout picking up the pieces, taking advantage. Alex trying a little too hard to gain track position there, and having been switchbacked on. JH13 there in the chat as well. Good to see you. Too bad we can't have you on track today. What an absolute fight this is. We got a 3-car fight for the lead of this race, and this is exactly what we want to see when we turn on some racing. Alex looking like he's in a very similar position to last lap around, being shown around the outside once again, and Illusion doing excellent as far as his car placement. And this is going to be a huge opportunity for Whiteout to pick up the pieces once again if something doesn't go exactly according to plan there for Alex. And I wonder too, is all of this fighting going to start bringing Chiller back into the conversations? We can see Chiller there in the background starting to approach. Alex now in the lead of this race as it is a 2-3 EXO, and they are now fighting for P2. They're not going to want to hold each other up too much here. They do not want to cost each other time as they try to fight back for P1. So these 2 EXO cars are in a very interesting, tricky situation now, where they're going to want to figure out who they're backing to go get the lead of this race and not hold each other up too much, not get in each other's way. If Alex starts holding up Illusion, then that means Illusion is holding up Whiteout as well. We'll check the May JP's position in just a moment, everyone, as we have an amazing little fight here. What the? Okay. Oh, and that, okay. So Alex getting past the first lap's car being his own teammate and almost destroying his races. He had to go all the way off the track, and as you can see, the profile of these curbs are very aggressive with very large elevation changes on these here curbings. Almost being the undoing of his race there. Very lucky to keep it on the track. All 3 of these cars all over the... Okay, we're going 3 wide into the final corner, although Alex had the inside line, thus advantage, and now it is a double slipstream going all the way up into turn 1. Breaking the toe is Alex. I'm going to need to take a breath. This is incredible stuff. Okay, Illusion with the outside line, but that turns into the inside for the second part of the chicane if he can stay alongside, but he decides to tuck back and have a better exit, which is exactly what happened all over the back of Alex. Still is Illusion, not opting to take position into the corner and holding himself up. That was a very, very smart tactical move from Illusion too, because Had Illusion stayed around the outside, tried to keep his car alongside Alex, he would have risked not only being put off track, but potentially holding up Whiteout as well, or crashing him out. This is very tight, scary stuff here. Illusion needs to get past Alex quickly, because he's now just costing Whiteout time too. Maybe Whiteout at this point might be losing a bit of patience, having to just watch this battle ahead. Maybe Whiteout can make a move himself if the opportunity presents itself. We got Illusion back into the lead through the death chicane. Absolutely risky stuff. Now Whiteout around the outside of Alex into the final corner. Alex then going back and absolutely launches it on the inside for the lead of the race, kind of blocking Illusion on the exit, and now that gives the opportunity for Whiteout, as Whiteout is definitely going to have the better exit speed, with Alex having blocked Illusion a bit there. Illegal blocking, of course. Now we're going in single file through the turn 1-2 chicane, which is the smart way to do it if you're this close to each other. Holy moly. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. So we got very slight amount of gaps here between these top three. I'm going to check down the order now. We got Lewis Hamilton into the pits, our first pit stop. Where is May JP? May JP back into P8. May JP absolutely climbing as well. So I wish we could stay on board with May JP and see exactly how he's making up these moves. Very impressive stuff from May JP. Nonetheless, we have a 3-car fight for the lead here that are wing to wing to wing to wing here. I wish we had 2 screens going at the same time right now, because there's clearly some excitement going down there in the midfield as well. JHS 13, there is so much May JP glaze happening here, because every single person in the chat is rooting for him and is here to support him. So we're giving him extra screen time and attention for our audience here. Although we don't do glazing here. Everyone is a good driver, so we just give the props that these drivers have been earning through their hard work and talent. Everyone gets a fair shake. All right, well, these gaps starting to open up and look a little more steady here in the front of the field. Now let's take a look down. What's happening back here? As, okay, May JP is under some pressure here from Nicky behind. And the gap ahead to Pan Am is just under 6 seconds. So May JP is going to have to not only hold off this pressure, but start to show a lot of pace to claw that gap down to a reasonable area where he may be able to make up more positions through this field. Although now we're starting to get to the point where these tires are going to start losing performance as the wear is around, 35-40% there. Doing his thing. BP once again kind of in a race of his own, ahead of King though, which is very impressive for BP. Last time out we saw him on the endurance strategy there on a hard tired zero stop, but now we're seeing him with a representative compound in representative pace, and he is right there doing very impressively. And it does look like they're getting past some more lapped traffic here. 1, 2, 3, still the order last time out. I still can't believe my eyes, to be honest with you guys. What an incredible race out in the front, and Alex being the one to make it out in front after all of that is just not something that you really expect to see. Like, no disrespect to Alex whatsoever. That's just props to him, because we know Illusion and Whiteout are legendary level drivers. Absolutely the top of the top. And so to see anyone even challenge those two is quite the feat. But now Illusion has crawled his way back into position to be fighting for the lead now, tucking behind once more for the opening corners very wisely. And it is a funny situation that you mentioned Alex making the championship interesting, because Alex was actually supposed to be driving for EXO in that car that he is now leading the two EXO cars. He was originally supposed to be in that car. He was signed to EXO. He is still listed on the roster too as a reserve. He was having some exams and stuff and was told that he actually can't race like he planned to race. So we then had to create a new lineup around that situation. Whiteout decided to make a return, and we got Illusion as well to fill in. And the plan was that Alex was going to have to miss the first 3 races, and so that's why the replacements were made. But now things change. Alex is back and actually in the lead against the team that he was originally supposed to race for. Very incredible situation. Somehow still in the lead of this race too, with this much pressure to Illusion. He is really showing a lot of poise and resolve right now, because to have the likes of Illusion and Whiteout breathing down your neck on a track like this is scary stuff. Okay, just checking really quickly, as I don't think they're going to make a move on that part of the track as to what's happening down there. Whiplash making up lots of positions now. On the move is Whiplash. Making a move onto MayJP is Santos here. Oh my. Oh, and getting a little bit of contact, being pushed just outside of the track and then drifting a bit is MayJP, but that's going to put MayJP in the clutches of Whiplash. Whiplash being one of the fastest drivers on the track too. It was a matter of time for that move to be made. Whiplash had all of the momentum, and, you know, MayJP just kind of being put in a bad position, although MayJP now in the slipstream of Whiplash, this is going to help him out. And he's on the overtake too. He's used about half of his overtake already, and we're not even halfway through this race yet, about 15 laps in out of 42 laps. It's a long race today, so he's going to want to manage that overtake, but now's as good a time as any to use it, as he is in a crowd of cars and you want to get an advantage to get some track position if you can. All right, going back to the front, because I'm seeing some position changes, and once again Alex holding up Illusion a bit, it seems, because now we got Whiteout all over the back of Illusion, just trying their best not to interrupt each other's race. Honestly, excellent teamwork being displayed here from the two EXO cars to stay clean and to keep each other in line here. They can't really help each other very much from the positions that they're in right now, but they can do their best to not hurt each other further. As we got 3 wide going in, the two EXO cars around the outside being pushed is Alex. Okay, Illusion having too much contact there in the exit, and that's going to make Illusion slow behind Whiteout, and see all of this battling is bringing Chiller back into the fight. Look at Chiller now. These EXO cars need to get past Alex quickly if they're not going to, because they're going to start losing too much ground here to the field. Now checking on the tire wear too, they're all extremely similar, basically identical tire wear between the top 4 cars here, and that's about 50% worn on the worst tire being that front left, although the tire wear is really balanced, so that's going to maintain the track, I would say the pace of the tire for longer than you would see on otherwise unbalanced worn tires. So that is good for confidence, which is very important for the car placement needed to defend and fight, such as they are here. Chiller fully in this fight now. We have a 4-car fight for the lead, but Alex now starting to actually gap a bit up at the top. I believe that gap being created as a result of a slow exit, pushing Illusion back into this crowd, which is a very, very clever defensive tactic to kind of purposefully have slow exits in front of your opponent, and then you take off, kind of like a safety car restart. You take off, leaving them having an extra second before they can pick up the throttle and take off again, which kind of artificially creates this little gap here, which is taking some of that pressure off of Alex. What an excellent performance from all three of these guys in the top three. And now we're going to see what Chiller can do. If Chiller can also give us a little bit of a show, as he is right behind now in the slipstream range of our top three podium contenders. I'm loving what I'm seeing, but while we have a tiny bit of a gap to work with, I'm going to take a look down the grid order. P8 for Kip, which is a very respectable position for him to be in so far, especially given his initial qualifying position. Not looking too promising initially, but good pace he is showing so far. So he does have the pace in him. Whiplash, the teammate, though, in the other Foxhound vehicle, starting to make up ground. And Foxhound also, I would say, kind of out of position even now, despite showing good pace right now. Oh, huge drift as he went just a little bit too far over the big part of the curb. Whiplash and the Foxhound Racing team definitely out of position in the standings after round one, because they are in last place in the Constructors' Championship. Whiplash himself also being in last place in the Drivers' Championship, despite being one of the fastest drivers on the grid, and that's just from a DNF last time out. But of course, with a good result here, they're going to need that to start showing where that team deserves to be. I don't know about that move, so that looked a little bit questionable from both drivers, to be honest with you. These two probably, yeah, look at all the pushing happening. Whiplash not happy with Santos, it appears, as these are the two that got in a crash with each other earlier on in the race out of the final corner. As they are approaching that corner once more, Whiplash on the overtake to try to keep him out of slipstream range. He does stay ahead, but slipstream range, once again, we have another three-car fight here going on. Incredible stuff. We got overtake being used too, so this is aggressive. These guys want position right now. Choosing the line, this, I would call that weaving, to be honest. These two are not driving very clean against each other. They don't seem happy with each other the way they're driving. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed a little dirty between these, the Foxhound of Whiplash and the Lotus of Santos there. I would say some weaving on the straight, some unnecessary contact on straights before corners, and it did look like a little bit of blocking there too out of the exit of 1 and 2. But that is just my perspective. Of course, when you're seeing it live in full speed, it's hard to get a full understanding of exactly what's happening unless you can review the replay thoroughly from all angles. So I don't want to pass too much judgment there, just calling what I'm seeing as any incidents that are reported will be handled post-race in a more thorough manner by our racing stewards. Now, Alex showing some incredible pace and resolve here to have a gap that is now over a second in the lead of this race. I'm incredibly impressed with what I am seeing here today from the likes of Alex and all of these drivers. Now, I will say Alex probably not the fastest driver on the grid right now, but just fast enough and battling well enough with his racecraft to maintain the lead of this race and to just make it an extremely hard time for these Exo cars who had an easy 1-2 last time out here at Suzuka. And now that there is a gap to another great opportunity to take a look back at the grid, checking in on your guys' favorite driver here, MayJP and P13. There's big gaps ahead and behind, though. And it's about 7 seconds in both directions there for MayJP. And yes, I definitely agree with the chat. Oh, all three of the top, 4 drivers. Okay, so everyone's shuffling into the pits now. BP staying out to inherit the lead of this race. BP. All right, so pit stops here now. Seeing what tires everyone comes out onto. Okay, Alex maintaining the net lead of this race on the soft tire, and soft tire. King as well, soft tire. Everybody choosing the soft tire who has pitted so far in this race. Yes, indeed. The tire wear and dirty air is a lot to handle. I will say, especially through this sector right now that BP is running through with these S's, that is where you're going to get a heap of the dirty air. Luckily, it's kind of, how do I say, not shallow, not narrow, but the angle of the corners through the S's is not very severe. So despite it being the place with the most dirty air, you can still survive there, but it's very difficult. The car just wants to understeer off the track, and even though you probably not going to completely leave the track from the dirty air through those S's, it is going to increase your tire wear as that understeer is harmful. BP understanding his assignment and realizing too that although it is nice to see yourself in P1 of this race, he is losing time to the cars behind, and to stop the bleeding of the undercut, he's going to jump into the pits now. And a good decision it is. The two teammates now all over each other. Two EXO cars battling for position, it seems. Illusion does not yet want to relinquish P2 and his opportunity to fight for the win of this race. I think it is understood now between Whiteout and Illusion that Whiteout is going to let Illusion have the chance to fight for the win. But I do believe, though, if Whiteout thinks that there's a moment where Illusion cannot get it done, that they're going to have to swap at some point and give Whiteout the chance to go fight for the win. Although we know that Illusion is very capable of closing gaps and fighting for wins, so these guys are doing a great job at coordinating with each other and not hurting each other's race so far. So excellent wingmanning here taking place from the EXO team. And it is not a surprise to see that the EXO team winning Constructors' Championships more times than not. As a result of this coordination, a little wiggle there in the exit from Illusion, and that's going to give Whiteout the run, as well as the slipstream, of course. Alex ahead outside of slipstream range now. Whiteout now taking position on track. So just as I was saying, now that these guys are too far back from Alex, Whiteout was being very polite, letting Illusion, not fighting Illusion while Illusion was fighting Alex. But now that Illusion is not fighting Alex, Whiteout taking position as clean as he could on track to now give himself a chance to go catch up to Alex and fight for the lead of this race. Illusion now needs to just stay within range of Whiteout so that he can carry him with him back up to the lead of this race. And now while those guys are doing that, it is a pace battle for them. Checking in on Chiller, who's also having an amazing race. Very quiet race from him as the action is happening all around him. But he is in an amazing position, also taking purple sectors to capitalize if anything happens. And knowing that Alex is so desperate to hold on to this lead of the race, Alex is the kind, he's not going to back down. He might just force an incident to happen instead of relinquish P1 without a fight. So Chiller putting himself in an amazing position to capitalize potentially even for a race win if things don't go according to plan for the drivers ahead of him. Now Chiller in the slipstream of Illusion. Illusion at risk right now to be overtaken now by Chiller. Incredible stuff, incredible stuff. Going down the grid, just kind of taking a look at the situations that we have going on here. The two Foxhound cars of Whiplash and Kip in P8 and 9 respectively. Santos about 8 seconds down, and wow, would you look at that, May JP making up ground. The gaps last time we checked on May JP was 7 seconds in both directions ahead and behind. Both gaps, however, are coming down though, so car behind has pace on him, but he has pace on the car ahead of him, which is always exciting to see. Ideally these cars, oh, big drift, but he caught it. Very good catch. I must say, as impressive as it is to drive a lap of this track perfectly, it is equally impressive to have a slide and to catch it. As if you slide even a little bit with these cars, the way that they catch grip again will point you in the opposite direction so quickly. You have to be so subtle and quick at the same time to anticipate the level of rotation that you're experiencing in that car and to re-grip in such a way that doesn't catch you out in the other direction. So impressive stuff to not kill yourself. And anti-shifty in the grass, in the wall, with damage on that front left suspension as well as front wing damage, and that's going to be devastating. Although we do have light mechanical damage enabled here, so the damage will repair itself. Whiteout under a second to Alex. I do believe that from what we were seeing, how patiently Whiteout was biding his time behind Illusion while he was fighting with Alex, that Whiteout, I believe, is the man with the most pace on track today. But you can see just how augmented dirty air and track position can make pace, as the race leader truly is dictating the pace of this race right now. So it is well managed from Alex, but he's going to want to be careful when you break those toes to not make it a weave, because breaking the toe on the straight, very legal. Weaving, however, not legal, and the difference between the two is just one additional move. There's the breaking of the toe. Now he can veer to choose the line that he wants, but he cannot break the toe like that suddenly 2 times on the same straight. And he does exactly the right thing. Whiteout just behind, still half a second behind. The gap coming down slowly but steadily as Whiteout showing why he is a champion, closing that gap. This exciting stuff. The gaps behind him as well, opening up a little bit to Illusion, but Illusion and Chiller, very stable gaps between the two of them. There's so much action going on too. I can't even look at tires or folk. Like, I have no idea what the strategy is. Usually by this stage in the race, the gaps have all opened up, and I'm just talking about like projecting if the strategy goes this way, this guy will have to pit on this lap, which will put him in this position by this lap, and just basically breaking down the race via math for you guys so that you know, even though there's no cars battling, it's still entertaining from a mathematical perspective. And yet in this race, I can't even think about none of that. Alex getting under the grass a bit wide there, just because there's so much action. This is exactly the kind of race that you want to see and commentate for, especially. Giving me a lot to think about here. Whiteout now in a position to actually make a move, but Whiteout, being the patient tactician that he is, of course, biding his time, not just pushing a move because he has an opportunity to make a move, but waiting and setting up Alex to make the best move, the cleanest move that he can, so that when he does make that move, he makes it stick. Because it's all for nothing if you can jump in the lead of this race, but you made a wild lunge to do it. You just cost both of you time and put yourself in a position where Alex can just fight it back. Especially, you want to pass him in such a way that you can hold the lead and then dictate the line for the next corner. If you put yourself in the lead in a way where he's right alongside, Alex has shown all race long that he's willing to take that lunge. And to answer the chat, yes, I am racing next week. The schedule was a little interesting. King wanted to wait on the second class's first race to make sure that the grid was full for both, but we had a really full grid before the season even started, so very successful from an attendance standpoint for the league. So congratulations to Dracon Racing League for excellent opening attendance here so far this season in its inaugural Super Formula season. Whiteout getting the lead of the race, and Alex all over, getting very squirrely on the exit of the curbs, picking up the throttle with his tire just a little bit too far to the left on that curb. If you get on the throttle there, it's extremely slippery, but you want to use the whole track, of course, so it is a risk versus reward sort of negotiation that you have to make with the track here today. although he is there in the slipstream. Well, thank you very much. Yes, I'm looking forward to racing as well. The race that is next, at least for us, that we're going to see is round 1 of the second class in Suzuka, and I will be racing. Appreciate the comments about my commentary and my livery designs. I think I'm pretty decent at driving too. I am coming off of a driver's championship in GPL in the SWT class, and it was very, very competitive there. I don't quite have the pace of these guys that we're watching right now, but I do fancy myself a very strategic sort of racer. And so looking forward to you guys being able to see me in action as well. As I really can't believe this, Alex, back in the lead of this race. Okay, now that there's tiny gaps here, we're just checking on the field here. Lewis Hamilton and Julvo in the back, potentially going to meet each other here soon at some point. May JP and P11, the gaps up and down between May JP and the cars ahead and behind him. As we go through the death chicane, 4 cars, one by one through there as Ruke. Whiteout, looking. What's the line? Is he going to have a look? No, he's just going to once again bide his time and set up a move. Oh, a tiny little wiggle, but it looked like the most minimum of a wiggle you can have. Like he didn't really lose any time from it either. In the slipstream, it looks like all 4 cars in this train are in each other's slipstream now. As we can see, what Alex does to a car that tries to pass him, he costs them time. As now we can see before, when Whiteout was having to catch up to Alex, Whiteout was starting to build a bit of a gap to Illusion, but now Illusion is right back in it because Alex is costing Whiteout some time when he does try to make a move in battle in there. Now going through the S as we go, being affected by the dirty air. This is the exact right range to get the absolute worst of the dirty air if you're the chasing car of Whiteout, Illusion, and Chiller. I can only imagine by the time you get to Chiller, it's an absolute tornado for him. The dirty air being so detrimental, I can only imagine you might lose up to 50% of your downforce into a corner, and with cars this reliant on downforce to make their rotation happen around a corner, you can imagine just how detrimental that can be. Oh, Illusion, looking like Illusion having a bit of a bad exit. Yes, he is indeed, as we have a battle for P3. Chiller now into P3. Illusion now in the slipstream. Is he going to be quick enough to have a look into turn 1 and 2? He does not, but he is close enough. Okay. I don't even know who to watch. Oh, I saw in the background as soon as I switched back up to the top, Illusion drifted out into the grass, maybe over pushing, maybe a heap of dirty air. That is extremely unfortunate. Illusion looking to be the guy to potentially win this race. Now down in P4, and now he can see, P5 can see him now. BP kind of less than 2 seconds away now. That is unfortunate stuff. Whiteout all over the rear wing of Alex. Now we have 3 different teams now, too, fighting for the win. That's another thing that you want to see as a spectator. Different teams all fighting for the win. Chiller now looking like he actually might be in position to fight for the win of this race. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is one of the most entertaining races that I've ever got to see in Gran Turismo. And I have seen some legendary fantasy level races all over the back of the wing there. He is costing Whiteout so much time. I can only imagine what the lead would be if Whiteout was in the lead of this race. Roberto in the chat, good to see you as well. Thank you for supporting our drivers here today as we are witnessing some incredible racing. A constant fight for the lead the entire race so far. Oh, definitely here so far. This has been way better than Suzuka. Suzuka had some good moments, but this has been a race through and through. Well then, Roberto, I would wish you luck, but I'm also on the grid, so moderate luck to you. Just enough luck, you know, within reason. I hope you do well, but not too well. This is really a three-car fight now. Chiller is right in it. Chiller in the slipstream of Whiteout. Whiteout needs to get by Alex as quickly as possible. Now that was a weave. That was a double breaking of the toe for Alex, and that is not legal. He's going to have to be careful of that. If he does it too much, that will definitely be subject to the steward's ire. Let's see now. We'll check on Julvo's position for you in a moment here, chat, as soon as we got... Okay, that looks decent enough for the gaps. Taking a look behind as we got a 3-second penalty. That's going to be for a pit lane infraction. Julvo P13, big gaps ahead and behind. So in a race all on his own. Nicky making up position, or making up ground onto MayJP, closing the gap down to just around a second. Big gaps all up and down the grid now. King making up ground onto BP. And now back to the action for the win and the only real battle on the track too at the moment. At least the only battle on the track is for such a consequential position. You know, I am surprised a little bit that Whiteout isn't really trying to make a move into that final corner, as that usually is one of the main overtaking opportunities that we see people trying to make moves there, as it is especially a lungeable corner as well. You can really dive bomb the inside of that final corner. And also not making too hard of a push there to fight into turn 1 and 2. And that's really the 2 out of the 3 major overtaking opportunities on this track. The only other one is the corner just before the death chicane that we're approaching just after we get through the S's here. So Whiteout not giving himself too many places to overtake, but he wants to do it smart. He knows that he's in a good position still, as he is now in the lead of this race on the straight, essentially a straight. And this is the corner I'm talking about. This is the overtaking opportunity around the outside. He has a better run, but not more track. Oh, wheel to wheel through the death chicane now, tucking into the single file. I can't even speak anymore. This is too entertaining. Whiteout finally in the lead of this race and breathing a sigh of relief, as if he can have a good exit here. He's on the overtake, very wise indeed. He wants to break the slipstream. If he can get out of slipstream range of Alex, then he basically has this race secured, I believe. And now we got to fight behind. Oh, and now he loses 2 positions. Chiller does indeed. Oh, contact, and that's exactly why Whiteout choosing not to battle with Alex into turn 1, because that's exactly what Alex would do. Alex knows exactly how to keep position, whether it's clean or not. He just wants that track position. He doesn't care how he has to get it. And not everyone agrees with that style of racing. It's very Verstappen-esque, where this is my position and I will keep it at all costs. Either you back out or we both crash type mentality. And it's worked out for him so far up to this point in the race, but it has also caused him a lot of issues in past races. And now that's kind of bringing illusion back into the race as well a little bit, that contact between our P2 and 3 drivers right now. That brought Illusion right back, and now King did get past BP as well there for P5. It's too bad we didn't get to see that, but I'm sure it was an impressive move nonetheless, as BP has been showing extremely steady but solid race pace all race long. I'm very impressed with BP. Okay, we're going to stay with this now as we have a battle for P5. BP going around the outside, which turns into the inside. That was quite the hang around the outside. You need 100% grip and confidence to make that work, and he did. That was incredible. And as soon as our major fight up at the front, oh, something must have happened. I was just going to say, as soon as one fight ends, another begins, but apparently it doesn't end. It never ends with Alex. When cars are near him, Illusion getting past Alex. Alex, I'm sure, is probably kicking himself right now, watching his P1 come undone here in the last lap, 2 laps of this race. He went from P1 to P4, and he has held P1 for basically this entire race. I mean, no one can take away from the excellent job Alex has done so far, though. Even if he completely ruins his race from here and ends up in last place, it was an incredible performance from him. But that's not what you want to see. Oh, big drift coming out of the exit there, as these tires are going to start losing performance from here, as it's about 50%. Alex having slightly worse off tires, at about 5% worse, I would say, on his worst being that front left. Goodness gracious. I will say, though, it is the result that counts, though. Anti-shifty now slightly in the way of these cars being lapped once again, getting all the way out of the way into the gravel there a little bit. But it is the result that counts for Alex, so he's not going to be satisfied with just having an excellent performance. That is not what he wants. He wants the result. And so he is going to be continuing to fight, going to want to put himself in a position to take advantage of any opportunities that come of this fight between Illusion and Chiller here for P2. As a switchback attempt from Illusion, going from the outside to the inside, and now on the overtake. Perfect timing with that overtake, and switchback to slide ahead just as we go into the first part of the death chicane, and still ahead as we go through the second part, but getting over to the right-hand side of the track to choose the inside line, going to the outside, back to the inside. Oh, we're seeing some mind games being played here, as Chiller getting back the position from Illusion just after the death chicane, having a great run on the straight leading to the final corner, but now Illusion with the slipstream on the long run up to turn 1. But just as I said, exactly what I predicted, as soon as Whiteout gets in the lead of this race, he is taken off, completely out of sight now. And he is 6 seconds in the lead of this race. Now, if Illusion does manage to get past Chiller and we have another XO 1-2 for round 2 here, we will see XO 1-2 for round 1 and XO 1-2 for round 2. But round 2s will not have been nearly as simple as round 1. It may look like on paper it was another simple, boring, dominant race, but it was anything but today. The result does not tell the story of this race, as it was an incredible one so far, and one that is continuing on laps 38 out of 42. Every single lap of this race has had non-stop action. I would be absolutely shocked if this is not the race of the year. I don't know if I could handle a better race than this, to be honest with you. Oh, Alex getting all sorts of loose there now, as he is the traction he's relying on not being there for him at this stage of the race. Illusion taking the inside, which becomes the outside, which becomes the inside again, but doing the smart thing, as Whiteout showed us many, many times, and just putting yourself in a good position to have a strong exit out of there, rather than trying to take position through there. It's a very smart move, and it's one that is going to save these guys a lot of heartache, because it's a very, very high likelihood of an incident. through there if you make an attempt. Even trying to be as clean as you can, it's just really difficult. The track narrows up so tight there. It's basically single file. And speaking of single file, we are now approaching the death chicane once more as Alex right back in this fight again. Goodness gracious. And this fight here is only spelling happiness for Whiteout ahead as he now 7 seconds up. And the more these cars battle, the more Whiteout will pull away. And knowing Whiteout and the pace he has, he might just do that regardless of what the situation is. 3 cars all in the slipstream, weaving a little bit. Breaking the toe is Illusion. Illusion now under a ton of pressure from Alex, and this is critical for Chiller and for Illusion. Illusion is going to need to stay ahead. They're not going to want to fight too much. Alex doesn't care about none of that. He doesn't care about maintaining race pace or nothing. Alex is sacrificing race pace and sacrificing the ability to get in range of P2 just to get ahead of Illusion. This is hurting both Alex and Illusion right now. If they want P2, they're going to want to work together, not against each other. Incredible stuff. Illusion on the overtake. Alex out of overtake. Chiller has about as much overtake as Illusion, being about an 1/8 of that overtake tank remaining. Okay, good on Illusion to stay ahead, but Illusion is now going to need to really take command of this lead that he has over Alex and maintain it and claw back to Chiller. And if he does want to get ahead of Chiller, much like the situation we had when it was Alex from Illusion and Whiteout, the Exo car is going to have to get past quickly and decisively to not put himself at risk to the car behind. As he currently is under so much pressure of the car behind, this is not good for either of them as far as their ability to make up ground to P2. But once again, very smart, tucking in through turn 1, getting really wide on that exit curb is Alex. The exit curb of turn 2 there is where I would avoid getting too wide. MayJP update, the chat wants, let's do it. Let's take a look. MayJP in P12. Oh, and it does look like there's a bit of a train here too as well. 3 cars fighting. MayJP in the back of a 3-car train going through the death chicane. There's a bit of a gap, just under a second. But the car ahead was the car that was behind for so many laps now, so there's a good chance Nicky ahead does have pace on MayJP, but we're going to see potentially if the fight between Nicky and Santos can bring that race here right back into MayJP's favor. They're going wheel to wheel into turn 1. Switching back is Nicky, but just a little too far behind to make a switchback work, and that does bring it a little bit back into the favor of MayJP as he gets a little bit closer. The fight's still between Nicky and Santos for the most part, but we saw early in this race MayJP in a very similar situation to this, almost identical, making a double overtake into this upcoming corner just after these S's here. Is he in position to do another miraculous double overtake move? We're going to see. He's in the slipstream. It does look like he's a little too far back to make a good faith lunge. He is indeed a little too far back, but this is really bringing the fight back to MayJP's favor. Oh, as he gets really squirrely there, going wheel to wheel with these 2 cars, battling through the death chicane. Oh my goodness. Oh, getting wide is Nicky. He touches the one of the walls that poked out. He has damage. I don't know how he did not collect MayJP in the process, but if MayJP can now maintain good pace here, a couple of good exits, and he might be in a good position to fight there for P10. A top 10 finish would be excellent, especially considering his starting position today. MayJP just using the final bits of his overtake that he had left to make this work, so he's going to want to make it. Oh, we are on the final lap. I didn't even notice. Sorry about that. Going back to the race winner, we got, and a P2, P3, P4. These are incredible results. P5 for BP, P6. Oh, we got fights on the final lap for Whiplash and Pan Am, too. Pan Am just getting ahead through the death chicane, and it does look like doing so in such a way it created a big enough gap that Whiplash will not be able to cope with and fight back there. Kip gonna have a easy finishing position. This is May JP's final chance. It does look like he's a little too far behind. It's gonna take an amazing push here from May JP if he wants this position in the final corners of the final lap of this race. He is actually in a good position now to make it work if he can keep it clean all the way through this final straight here. It's going to be a lunge if he's going to want to take a move. I don't know. Yeah, he's a little too far back. Yeah, and then just outbraking himself a little bit, but it was worth the attempt. Yeah, it was close, but no cigar. P11 for May JP, P10 for Santos, very good. And our final on-track finisher with a spectacular 360 to close it is Nikki. Holy moly, I need to take a breath. Congratulations, everybody. Especially this man right here, Whiteout, for having to actually fight for the first time in a really long time to take a victory, but a victory nonetheless. I'm going to save that replay. I encourage everyone else who's in this lobby right now to save that replay. There's definitely going to be some moments from this race popping up all over YouTube here soon. You guys are going to want to keep an eye out for that. So much to talk about, so much to break down in that race. Holy moly, Whiplash clearly not happy either as he leaves immediately after the race has concluded. Oh, goodness gracious. So, race win number 2 for Whiteout, but Chiller interrupting the EXO 1-2 and the parade thereof. Very, very strong and impressive performance from Chiller to just stay anonymous but competitive for long enough that once, as predicted, he picked up the pieces and capitalized on a huge opportunity. Take P2. Illusion with an amazing race himself as well, having to battle every single lap of this race and managed to get ahead of Alex in the end to close out your podium. So congratulations to our top 3 podium finishers. And the final, the rest of the results are as follows. P4 for Alex, 5 for BP, 6 for King, 7 for Pan Am, P8 for Whiplash, P9 for Kip, the 2 Foxhound machines having a better showing today. P10 for Santos, 11 for the fan favorite of May JP, the British racing driver, having a strong showing today, especially in the racecraft department. P12 for Nikki, P13 for Julvo, P14 for Lewis Hamilton, and P15 for Anti-Shifty, who is having a bit of a struggle to stay on track, but showed glimpses as well. An incredible race from absolutely everybody involved. Now, I do want to tell you guys really quickly about the kind of YouTube situation. We did set up, as I'm sure you guys know, an official YouTube channel for the league. Drakon Racing League is what it's called, so go find it, follow it, subscribe to it. It was telling me when I tried to stream there that it needs verified and could take up to 24 hours to verify, and that was 2 weeks ago. We tried again this morning, and it gave me the same message again, so that's really, really weird. Not sure exactly what the problem there is, but we are going to look into it and hopefully get that solved ahead of the next race and not have to stream it from my personal channel here, although do feel free to subscribe here to my personal channel as well if you so choose. The race replay from this will be uploaded to the official channel at Drakon Racing League, so go and subscribe to that for sure. And ideally, we're going to want that channel fixed and streamable ahead of the next race because I'm going to be racing in it, so I will not be able to stream from this channel. Also, for updates on the league and anything regarding this league and how the standings are going, if you want updates on the ultimate fan experience from this league, you're going to want to follow us on Instagram as well, at Drakon Racing League. And so just checking on the chat really quickly before we end the stream, but this was an amazing stream, and thank you guys very much for your participation in the comments. It was very helpful to keep me awake and alert and looking at something other than losing my absolute mind watching these top three guys going crazy all race long. All right, sounds good. Looking at everyone, and thank you so much once again. We will be back next week, either on this channel or ideally on the Drakon Racing League official YouTube channel for round one Suzuka in the second class. And thank you guys so much. We will see you again very soon.